Now, on another level, in my active imagination, at the beginning of my active imagination this morning, I was also thinking of my wonderful daughters and the marriage of my youngest daughter happening in June, and my oldest daughter she's in her last few weeks of pregnancy. I'm going to be a grandpa, and the relationship between my parents and I, and myself with my daughters, and my daughters with my parents, and um, I realized that uh, this level of ambivalence is a state of tension. And I think as someone matures and grows older, they realize they don't need to have such intense struggles with life. They come to terms with their level of ambivalence that works for them. And they can put aside a great many concerns that they had in their younger years, and live more in accord with life. However, while dealing with our ambivalence, there are techniques we learn to coping mechanisms, defensive techniques to protect ourselves from too much. And I realized that without becoming too critical of my mother and father, I learned, I've observed them and come to understand that they have come to terms with their ambivalent feelings with each other through detaching themselves and remaining somewhat detached from each other. And this is a normal, healthy, organic development for their relationship. They're still relatively happily married. They go through their ordeals just like anybody, but they're committed, and this is their life, and they're committed to their life together. You know, these are all honorable things, I want to say. However, that's their tendency, to be more detached. My tendency is one to be more interconnected. Now, in relationship to their detachment, my interconnectedness seemed to them codependent. And it was naturally a role that came to me in relationship to their severe detachment, in relationship to my interdependence, to interpret my behavior as wanting to be too connected to them, when actually their natural stance is to remain more detached. So it could be easily misinterpreted that I behave codependently. Now, codependency is a reoccurring theme in my life, and this has been spoken to with counseling. Not that I had the issue, because my behavior was appropriate throughout. The main thing is can you express your needs? Can you express your needs in an appropriate manner without projecting guilt or shame or some other kind of punishment onto the other person? It's just, this is what I need. Can you bring it? If you can't, then I'll go where I can get it. And it's very conscious. It's very out in the open, and it's not manipulative. Manipulation is also a part of codependency. So in my counseling sessions, it became very clear that there were techniques involved with my parents' responses to my requests that were manipulative. And ultimately, this just has to be this. Ultimately, this is just their way of coming to terms with their own life and the life they have to live. And so there's there is a saying in the I Ching, misfortune, no blame. Meaning, we have a difficulty in life, but there's really nothing, no judgment that resolves it. There's no evaluation that can resolve this misfortune. Things just happen. And here we are back at the ambivalent feelings of two opposing feelings towards the same object. So a misfortune can occur, however, there is no resolution to it. And I think this is key to Campbell's statement where he says somewhere, I didn't cause the world's problems and I'm not the world's problems' solutions. I'm not the solution to the world's problems. It's just the way it is. And coming to terms with life and being able to retain a level of tension is the inspiration of vigorous vitality. And this vigorous vitality is mixed with ambivalent feelings, opposing feelings. And when we're younger, we usually become possessed by our feelings. So we're possessed by feeling wonderful, and then we're possessed by feeling terrible. And then there's no mix in between. But as we mature, this terror joy is one, unified.